Hi, and thanks for joining. If you're new here, my name is Wendy and this is Nina's Jewels. My husband and I buy things at places like garage sales, thrift stores, anywhere we can find things to sell online and flip for a profit. If that's content you're interested in, you're in the right place. Today's video is going to be what sold for the week of December 24th through 30th, and we're going to do a deep dive into our sales for 2023. You can find out how much we earned as part-time resellers for the entire year of 2023, what our best sales categories were, what our best sourcing locations were, what our best selling platforms were. You can get all the dirty details of what our business is like from the inside out. You definitely don't want to miss that. So let's dive in to what sold. But before we do that, we are going to have a giveaway for this to celebrate the end of the year and the beginning of 2024. And we are giving away this LED photo studio light. It is branded with the eBay logo. It is an LED photo box. You can use this to take really great photos of items. So if you are a reseller, this is definitely something that you would want to have in your arsenal to up your game. So if you're interested in winning this item, the requirements to win are to be subscribed to our channel, to like this video, and to submit a comment on this video. We will select from one of the comments and announce the winner of this item on our next video. So make sure and stay tuned and subscribe with the notification bell on so you will not miss that, and good luck. All right, let's dive into what sold for the week of December 24th through 30th. I will say that this was not like one of our best weeks of the year. We definitely had not been listing as much in the weeks leading up to this, so that did affect our sales somewhat. And also the week of Christmas, I think, at least for us in the past, and this week was no exception, sales are just not great that actual week of Christmas. That's just not ever been a big selling week for us particularly. Let me know in the comments below how your sales have been in 2023 and in previous years for the actual week of Christmas. But in my experience, that's not been one of our top sales weeks of the year. But we didn't do horrible, so we'll take all that we can get. So the first thing that we sold was a sealed DVD of the movie A Christmas Story 2. We found several copies of these in the Goodwill bins, and we had paid 94 cents for it. This one sold for $9.49, and that was our full asking price minus a discount that we were running on, I guess, I don't know if it was media or DVDs, I don't remember. I don't retain all of the information unless I absolutely have to. There's only so much room in my brain. Next up was a piece of fabric that I had purchased for a project and then I never used it. We've actually sold this item before and it was returned to us, and this is the second time we sold it. It was 3 yards of 60-inch wide black 4-way knit velour burnout knit fabric. I don't remember how much I paid for it. I've had it for a long time, so I've put no cost on my spreadsheet. This sold for $36.09. That was with a discount, and we did end up still profiting on that despite having to eat some of the shipping costs and fees and stuff like that from the first sale, so that was good news, and the buyer was happy with it this time, so it's gone forever. Next up was a bad buy. This was a pair of Timberland youth boots. I don't think Timberlands are necessarily a bad buy, but I had just paid too much for these, and so we didn't make much on them, but I was still really happy with this sale, and I'll explain why in a minute. But we had gotten these at a garage sale for $10, and they sold for $29.58 on offer to buyer. So we had not much profit on them, but we got the nicest feedback on this, and this is kind of like a lot of the reason why I love doing this job, reselling items and helping items find new homes, because the feedback that we got on this was, even though these were kid sizes, it must have been from like a small woman or something like that that purchased these. She said that she was so happy to have them, that she was a bus driver, and that she needed something that would help her to be able to handle the big pedal of the bus. and these boots were perfect, and she was so comfortable driving the bus after she got the new shoes, and she was really grateful. So that kind of feedback makes me so happy and is exactly the reason why we started doing this as a side hustle, and we love getting feedback like that. So, you know, even though it was a bad buy and we didn't make much profit on it, just that makes me happy. Okay, next up was a Poshmark sale. This was a Ralph Lauren Fair Isle sweater. We got this at a garage sale for $2 and it sold for $33 even, and that was a best offer. Next up was a vintage Y2K silvertone studded brown leather wrist cuff. This was very Y2K looking, and we got this at a garage sale for $1. It sold, I think it was our full asking price minus a discount of $23.74. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I think I had a sale running on our entire store this particular week. So I'm just going to quit saying that it was with a discount, because obviously everything would be with a discount this particular week. I was doing like a end of year kind of closeout kind of thing. So that's why. Next up was a 2015 Animal Adventure plush rabbit. We got this in a plush Goodwill blue box that we bought. This is not an item I would have ever picked up, not a good buy at all. But my strategy is to list everything and give it a chance, unless it's like, damaged or stinky or just something that I would not feel comfortable selling, because I'm trying to keep stuff out of the landfill and also trying to, make a few extra bucks as a side hustle. So that's why I choose to list everything. But obviously, some people are trying to make maximum profit. They have a threshold of like a certain dollar amount that they're trying to earn. So some people would not have listed this item, but my strategy is a little different than other people. I'm not telling you that that's the way you should do it. I'm just sharing my experience and explaining why we do things the way we do things. So that's why we list stuff like this. We had it. I did not want to throw it away or, donate it to where it would possibly end up in the landfill. So we listed it, and it surprisingly sold. We did not make much money on it, but it found a new home, and hopefully that person needed it or really wanted it and is super happy with it. So that makes me happy. So we had paid $2.19 for each of the items that we had gotten out of that Goodwill blue box, and this sold for $8.44. The good news about this is that it went to the town just right next to us, so we didn't have much shipping on it, so we were just able to get a little bit of profit on that item. Next up was a GE Ultra Pro Digital HG two-way coaxial cable splitter. It was new in the package. We found this in the bins. We paid $1.18 for it, and it sold for $13.29. Next up was a VHS called Silly Songs, 18 Wholesome Fun Songs for Kids by the brand Cedarmont Kids, and it was new and sealed. I will say that we just accidentally figured out that this particular brand, Cedarmont Kids, sells really well. We sell them every time we pick them up, whether they're new or used, and they sell quick. So I don't know what it is about these, but we always pick them up when we see them. And they also make or made cassettes, and those also sell really well. So be on the lookout for those. We got this at a thrift store for 12 cents, and it sold for $21.84. Next up was a Chilton GM Chevy GMC full-size truck repair manual. We got this at a thrift store for $1.08, and it sold for $23.74. Next up was a 2002 Jack in the Box Kids Meal toy. We got that at a thrift store. It was in a big bag of toys that we got, and we probably picked up the bag for something else, and this was in there. And like I said, we try to list everything if it's in good condition. We paid 19 cents for this item, and it sold for $8.54. Next up was a Duluth Trading Company men's full zip mock neck pullover. We got this at an estate sale for $6, and it sold for $33.24. Next up was a set of 11 J.A. Hinkle's stainless steel steak knives. These were actually mine. I actually really liked these knives. These were really nice, but I had purchased a while ago another set of knives, and they had steak knives in them too, so I had an influx of steak knives and didn't need all of these. And this was originally a set of 12. I lost one, and so I just sold these as a set of 11. So this was gifted to me many, many years ago. I had no cost, and these sold for $42.48, and that was on offer to buyer. Next up was 2 collectible cards from my husband's personal collection. I used to do all of my husband's collectible cards at the end of the video, but I just decided that we have not been selling enough of these to really justify that. So I'm just going to start doing this like in with the other stuff. So let me know what you guys think of that, or if you don't like it, I'll switch back to the old way, but I think this will be just fine. So this was 2 cards. They were 2 different Skybox promotional cards. So these 2 cards sold for $4.54 to the same buyer. Next up was 2 packages, each 18 count, so 36 cards in total of Dayspring Christmas cards. They were brand new. We found these in the Goodwill bins for 67 cents, and they sold for $18.99. Next up was a set of 12 red and ivory hand-painted wooden holiday Christmas tree napkin rings. They were new in the package. I found these in the bins for $1.18, and they sold for $37.99. I actually found these when we were doing bins bingo, and I have a video when we found these, so if you want to check that out, it's actually a 2-part video. I will link that in the description box below. Those are both fun videos. Next up was a 2006 Department 56 Snow Babies figurine. I got this at a garage sale for $5, and this one sold for $28 even, and that was a best offer. Next up was a Kate Spade beige and black deco dots insulated lunch bag. It was new in the package. I found 2 of these, both new in the package, at an estate sale, paid $5 each for them, and this is the second one to sell. They both sold. This one sold for $28.49. Next up was a Sennheiser wireless microphone body pack transmitter. We got this in a bag of audio-visual equipment at the thrift store. We have broken down our cost for this item at $2.52, and this sold on best offer for $75. Next up was a 2012, the brand was I Heart Guts, and it was a new with tags, purple and orange plush stuffed kidney, and it said, when urine, as in urine, because the kidney processes urine, when you're in love. And I just thought it was so cute, but it did take a while to sell. We got this at a garage sale for $1, and it sold for $18 even on best offer. I mean, a kidney urine plush is a very specific item, so it is no surprise that it took a while to sell, but I just thought that thing was really cute. Next up was a men's red, black, and white checkerboard MTV logo t-shirt. This belonged to my daughter, and so I don't know where it came from. I don't know if it was something that we bought or gifted to her or got at a garage sale, but I had no cost listed on our spreadsheet, and that sold for $11.50. Next up is a Lucky Brand 100% leather hobo bag purse. I actually got this purse a long time ago for like $5 on Facebook Marketplace, just on like a local buy, sell, trade kind of group. And I carried this as my primary purse for an extremely long period of time. It was a super nice purse, but decided I did not want it anymore and sold it for $85.49. Next up was a 1995 Pinnacle Zenith Rookie Roll Call collectible card, and this one was my husband's. This sold for $3.13. Next up was a pair of Reef men's sandals. We got these at the flea market for $3, and they sold for $20 even on best offer. Next up was a Ralph Lauren Jeans Company women's green elbow patch knit top. We got this at a thrift store for $3.79, and it sold for $20.89. Next up was a Scarecrow moving mouth latex mask, new with tags, by the brand Ghoulish Productions. We got this at a garage sale for $1, and it sold for $23.74. Next up was 5 Donruss Willie Stargell puzzle pieces, or they were cards, but it was like different cards that you could purchase that ultimately formed like a big puzzle. And these were all collectible cards that were my husband's. All five of these sold to the same buyer. These sold for a total dollar amount of $9.80. Next up was a women's zebra brooch. It was new in the package. This was gifted to me a very, very, very long time ago, and I just don't wear brooches. I never wore it. And we have had this listed in our eBay store, I'm not even exaggerating, for probably like 7 years. I've had this listed for longer than I've even been doing reselling as a business. And this item just, I don't know why it would not sell. And it finally, like, I had decided I'm taking this out of my store and we're going to put this in a garage sale this year. And even though it did not take up any space, I was like, there's just something about this item that is making it not sell. And so we were about to like delist it and take it off, and then it sold. So it was, I don't know, just thinking about taking it down made it sell. But since this was gifted to me, I had no cost on it, and it finally sold for $7.98. So that was way better than selling it in a garage sale, I'll tell you that. Next up was a nursing cami with removable pads. It was new with tags. We got this at a garage sale for $2.25, and it sold for $15.18 on offer to buyer. Next up was a men's Callaway pullover golf top. This was purchased at a garage sale for $2, and it sold for $23.98. Next up was a vintage puzzling egg 3D puzzle. It was new in the package. My husband found it at the thrift store for $1.03, and he just had a feeling about it, and he was right. That sold for $33.24, surprisingly. Sometimes he just has a sense about things, and most of the time he's right. Next up was a vintage Frank Shorter Sports men's Gore-Tex windbreaker. This was actually in a Goodwill blue box that was branded as women's vintage clothing. And not only did it not have all women's clothing in it, but it didn't even have all vintage clothing in it. And the first thing that sold from that box was something that was not vintage, and the second thing that sold from that box was something that was not women's. So, you know, I was dogging on Goodwill for misrepresenting that box, and then, you know, they kind of had the last laugh because the first two things that we sold were stuff that, you know, I was kind of giving them hell about. So this we paid $4.20 for, and it sold for $21.84. Next up was a pair of Kenneth Cole Reaction Boys genuine suede Oxfords. These were actually my son's, and I don't know how much we paid for them, but they sold for $27, and they took a really long time to sell. They were in like really good condition, so I was a little bit stingy on the price, but you know, it was worth the wait, I guess. Next up was it was called a backpack Bible, and it was a compact thin line Bible. We got this at the thrift store for 51 cents, and it sold for $14.18 on offer to buyer. Next up was a jacket that belonged to my daughter. She decided to sell it. It was by White House Black Market, and it was a jean jacket. This sold for $21.18. So let's go over all of the totals for this week. This is the week of December 24th through 30th. We had 35 sales in total. Our average sale price was $24.79. Our sales totaled $867.59, and that made for a net profit of $460.36. So definitely by far not one of our better weeks, but that's kind of no surprise since it was the week of Christmas. But now let's go over the totals for the year of 2023. So these totals will include all of our sales across all platforms, and that includes eBay, Mercari, Poshmark, and Facebook Marketplace. So our total number of sales for all of 2023 was 1,877. Our average sale price was $27.97, and our total sales was $52,958.25, And that is just selling part-time. We are definitely by no means full-time resellers. We have another business that we own, and I actually also work part-time doing work for a consulting agency. So this is a part-time gig for us. We do spend as much time on it as possible, but this is what you can do. I mean, just doing part-time. And our net profit was $29,596.39. So I think that's pretty good for doing this part-time. And you know, sometimes we just don't have tons of time to put into reselling, and other times we have more time to put into it. So I would say that that is definitely making a huge impact on our annual income for our household, and we are really grateful to have this side hustle. So let's just talk about like some of the other statistics that go into our business. And I'm going to show you guys some screen shares of our spreadsheet that we use. And this is a spreadsheet that we got from Ginger Marvin. It is a free resource that they provided, and it's a really awesome spreadsheet. We love it. So shout out to Ginger Marvin for creating this. We have been using this for a few years now, a couple years now, and it has been super helpful to our business. And I love having the statistics. It really helps us gain insight into our business and help us have a better understanding of what's working and what's not working. Looking at the year as a whole, our number one month was November by both number of sales and total sales. We sold 202 items in November, and our sales for November totaled $5,971.61. So by comparison, our least successful month was March of 2023. And in March of 2023, we sold 121 items for a total dollar amount of $2,819.89. So that's a big difference between our lowest month and our highest month. And I'm sure that there were lots of reasons for that. I think we traveled in March, if I'm remembering correctly, so that affected it. And I think that we were probably also really listing heavily in and before November, so that affected our sales. So let's look at our sales categories and what was our most successful sales category. Our most successful sales category, despite our best efforts to make it something that we don't pick up often, was women's clothing. We just don't enjoy selling clothing. We don't enjoy listing clothing, but you know, it's something that sells really well. And obviously we, you know, list our own personal items when we get done with them. So I'm listing my items, my daughter's items. And then if we see something at a sale that we know will sell, we're definitely going to pick it up and list it if we can make money on it. So despite our best efforts, women's clothing was our number one sales category. Our number two sales category was toys. And our number three sales category was trading cards. Those are based off of the numbers of sales. So out of all of our sales total, we had the most sales by number of women's clothes, then toys, then trading cards. If you look at our total sales by dollar amount, our number one category was trading cards. And that is because we are selling my husband's very large collection of trading cards. We have a lot of them, and many of them, including some of his magic cards, are very valuable. So that's why that's our number one category by dollar amount. Our number two category by dollar amount is, despite our best efforts, women's clothes. And our number three category by dollar amount of sales is, surprisingly, electronics. That actually surprises me. We do buy electronics like cameras and things like that, and we make lots off of those. So electronics, you know, that could be a good category for us looking into the future. All right. Looking at our best sourcing locations. Our number one sourcing location is garage sales, which is no surprise. That's where we go most of the time. It's one of the easiest places for us to source. And we live in North Texas, so the weather here is good most of the year, and we have garage sales here most of the year. So that's an easy sourcing location for us. Our number 2 sourcing location is ourselves, which to me is a no-brainer, a smart sourcing location. I kind of have a rule where if I purchase something new for myself, like a pair of shoes, then I try to get rid of a pair of shoes. If I purchase a new pair of jeans, I try to get rid of a pair of jeans. So that way I'm not cluttering up the house, and we have a constant source that way. So that's one of the reasons why that's one of our number 1 sourcing locations, and we definitely try to live as clutter-free a lifestyle as possible. Our number 3 sourcing location is our Honey Hole thrift store. And I'm not going to be giving up where it is, but it is somewhere that is local to us, and we try to go there once a week and source items there. And sometimes we find things, sometimes we don't. It's definitely getting harder and harder, but it's still our number 3 location. And I'll go ahead and give you the number 4 sourcing location for us, and that's the Goodwill bins. We wish we could go to the Goodwill bins more often, but it is close to us and it's easy to go to. It's just such a big job to go to the Goodwill bins for us. And since we have other jobs, it's just sometimes a challenge to fit it in. But we are going to try to go more often and make videos more often as we have time to and have availability this year. So if you enjoy those Goodwill bin videos, let me know in the comments below and we'll try to bring you more of that content. Okay, so that wraps up our video for what sold for the week of December 24th through 30th and our wrap-up video for the entire year of 2023. Let me know how your sales were in 2023, and make sure that you like, subscribe, and comment on this video so you can be entered to win the light box. Thanks for joining, and we will catch you guys on the flip side.